Hi, it's Jody again with Kibbles. This week I cut a bunch of wood. I worked on my generator, which was acting up again. I've decided to call my Honda generator my Princess generator because it was acting up. I think some particles got in the carburetor, and as soon as I brought it inside, either the ice that was in there or sneaky breath, or some particles got dislodged as I was moving it around. I also had to fix my snowblower. Turns out there was a nice big rock wedged in the auger. Both the shear pins sheared. The belts still work. It started nice. So I'll share my week with you. Thank you for watching. I pulled this rock out of here. It was wedged in there. So this was not spinning freely. And it's still not spinning freely because it's hitting the roof of the housing right there. So I'm going to have to do something with these teeth. The cotter pin is definitely broken. You can see right there. So I'm going to have to pound those out. And as well over here, the cotter pin sheared. Or the shear pin, I should say. The shear pins are sheared. This was given to me for free, but as you can see, this metal's really fatigued. So even if I put another shear pin in there, I don't know if it's gonna, how long it'll last. You'd rather the shear pin break than your auger. Okay, maybe I can get that one out now. It's lined up, I can punch it through. Can't seem to punch that shear pin through, so I've switched directions and I'm going to try and straighten that auger blade. In order to get those shear pins visible and accessible, I have to turn the motor on to turn the auger. Unfortunately, the shear pins will only go through one way, so there's only one of me here. I have to keep turning it on, checking it, turn it off, turn it on, until it's finally facing the right way. And then I go to try and punch the pins out. They're not facing the way that they will exit, so I have to turn it again. And finally, I get the pins out. As you see me warming up the tool, my tool has got snow on them, and then they kind of melted, and then so the water was frozen onto that wrench, and so I had to melt the ice in it so I could actually manipulate it. There might be an easier way of turning that auger bar, but I didn't know it, or I'm not strong enough to do it, so I had to use the motor. While I was trying to use that handy little tool to punch those pins out, it was really hurting my hand, so that's why I had to use the glove. The vibrations of the hammer, I don't know if it's because it was cold, just metal on metal, but it wasn't working very well for me, so I had to put the glove around it just to protect my hand. the handy dandy little tool that I'm using, even though I bought a punch, a friend of mine made for me. He thought the extended length of that cutoff bolt would make it easier to get the pins out. And it worked very well. I was quite impressed, even though I gave him a hard time about it because I thought they would bend. So, I'm sorry, Mike. Thank you for your handy little tool. It worked. Kibbles had to inspect my work. Apparently it passed inspection. So, metal tools, cold hands. Not the fun part of this job. But it's a beautiful sunny day. We were so fortunate. A moose cow spent the whole day with us. I worked on all my equipment. I was cutting wood. She didn't care. Someone has been feeding you. Someone has been feeding you because you think I'm going to feed you. She napped on and off, just hung around the house all day. Didn't leave until well after dark. You need some scratches. Need some scratches. You need some scratches. I don't have anything for you. Here. There. You don't want scratches. You want apples. You want apples, don't you? Now, for those that are worried about me, I have a wall of wood. I'm up on a porch. I've got all of this stuff between me and the moose, and my door's right here. So I'm not in danger. She'd have to get up on here on the porch. Let's see, she's down there. She is curious about kibbles. Look at that. Are they gonna touch noses? Hi, pretty girl. Hi, beautiful. As I was trying to charge my EcoFlow the other day, my Honda generator was acting up. It kept idling down, kind of running really rough. Eventually, it stopped producing energy altogether. So I decided I'll check the spark arrestor since that's one of the problems that it had before. I did not look at the owner's manual when I started taking this apart. So it's taken me a little bit longer than it would have if I had read the owner's manual. When I couldn't find where the spark arrestor was, I did go read it and was then able to dismantle that part to get it out. That screw was easy. That screw was easy. This screw is up under there where you... I can't even get a video of it. at an angle you can't even get to. This is my princess generator that is so difficult. So I had to jerry rig something so I could get up here and get that screw. And get it tight and loosened. So that's one way I could get in there. I didn't have any shorter tools. Not impressed with that engineering. The spark arrestor didn't look too dirty, but I went ahead and cleaned it. I brushed it with a toothbrush. Poked a hole in it with a screwdriver by accident. I'm not impressed with the engineering on this thing. If that's something you have to regularly do, it should be easier to get out. This screw hole is a pain because you got to get from underneath. I finally got to it by taking a 8mm socket because I have limited tools, an 8mm socket, and I attached it to this Allen wrench. Hang on. I attached it to the Allen wrench, and then I have just enough room to get up under here and turn it, but just barely. It's going to be fun putting it back together. Honda recommends you clean that spark arrestor quite frequently, but as you can see, it's not very easy to get in and out of there. So I call that a design flaw, especially if it's a maintenance item. Getting the insulation housing back on takes quite a bit of patience. You have to get it in just right so that black grill will go back on correctly. I cleaned the spark arrestor because last time that was one of the problems. But the generator was still acting up. So I decided to put it in the cabin to warm it up in case there was any ice. And I also noticed that there was some particulate matter down in the fuel tank. So maybe something got dislodged as I was pushing it back in the cabin. But either way, this is now my princess generator because it needs special treatment. When I pulled it out of the cabin, it worked fine. You better leave that moose alone. Leave it. Come on. The trees around my property are mostly black spruce. And black spruce, and a lot of spruce up here in Alaska, were attacked by a type of beetle. So there's a lot of beetle kill laying around or upright that are dead. So I'm cutting out all the deadfall and using it as firewood. You want to clear your area so that if you do have a forest fire, you have less stuff to burn. These logs aren't super heavy, but some of them are. I didn't catch the northern lights like my neighbor did, but I did catch a nice sunset again. Try different ways in getting the logs out of the forest. With the deep snow and fallen timber, it's very rough to walk back there. So I was basically throwing logs for a while, and then I tried the sled. And I thought for sure my dog, who pulls stuff all the time, would help me pulling the sled. But no, she didn't want anything to do with the sled except for to ride on it.
You would much rather ride, huh?
I had some fun with her riding on the sled. I think it's cute. My steel saw is a challenge to start. It's new and it's very tight. So getting it to start has been a challenge. I have never liked pull start equipment, and that one definitely challenges me. Some question why I have signed up for this kind of lifestyle. But you know what? If you don't use your muscles, you're going to lose your muscles. So staying healthy means staying active. So I'm going to be like our grandmothers and grandfathers and work, 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 keep my body healthy. My goal is to get at least 3 cords of wood put up. I want to be able to play this summer, so I'm going to work on cutting wood as much as I can during the winter so that I can get out there and play and fish. Kibbles and I enjoyed a hike at Crevice Moraine in Wasilla. The day was very cold, like 11 degrees. I was not dressed appropriately that day, but the sun coming through the birch was absolutely gorgeous. Again, thank you for subscribing. This has been fun, and I hope you continue to enjoy. Thank you. Got gloves on because I need the gloves. I can't work without the gloves. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm trying to say I can't work on the equipment with gloves on. So I learned the hard way. You should not wear fleece while you're cutting wood. I'm never going to get all this sawdust off of me. Be interesting to get off.